What holds a society together? It's a question that feels more urgent now than ever before. For centuries, we've believed that modern democratic societies are built on a solid foundation of shared civic values. Things like equality before the law, freedom of expression, individual rights, and mutual tolerance. These aren't just buzzwords. They are the pillars that support our entire way of life. But here's the thing. These principles didn't just appear out of thin air. They were forged in the fire of history, through centuries of legal battles, social struggles, and cultural evolution. When we start to weaken or ignore these foundational norms, the very fabric of our society begins to fray. Now, let's talk about cultural integration. The beauty of a multicultural society is its vibrant mix of backgrounds and perspectives. This can be an incredible source of strength. But its success hinges on one crucial factor: a shared commitment to those core civic principles. Integration becomes a fragile balancing act when large-scale cultural differences meet incompatible legal, social, or moral frameworks. Sociologists have pointed this out for years. Not all cultural norms are created equal when it comes to building a cohesive society. Practices related to gender equality, freedom of speech, the rule of law, and secular authority vary dramatically across the globe. When any group, regardless of where they come from, rejects these foundational norms, it inevitably creates tension. This isn't about ethnicity or heritage. It's about values, governance, and the social contract we all implicitly agree to. A society based on secular law and individual rights simply cannot function if parallel systems pop up that place religious or ideological authority above the law of the land. Think about it. If different groups are playing by completely different rulebooks, how can we ensure fairness and justice for everyone? History gives us a clear warning. It's not diversity itself that leads to social fragmentation, but the failure of integration. We can see the warning signs when they appear: the formation of isolated communities that are resistant to civic norms, the rise of parallel legal or moral systems that directly conflict with constitutional law, an increase in social polarization and a deep-seated distrust between different groups, and perhaps most chillingly, a reduction in freedom of expression because people are afraid of causing offense or facing retaliation. There is a powerful metaphor in sociology that describes this perfectly. If you put a bunch of different substances together without a binding agent, they don't blend into a stable whole. They just sit there, separate and unmixed, without shared civic expectations. The beautiful mosaic of diversity can shatter into a collection of disconnected fragments. It stops being a source of enrichment and starts becoming a source of division. So, what is that binding agent? In successful pluralistic societies, the answer is secular governance. Secularism acts as a neutral framework, a common ground where everyone can stand, regardless of their personal beliefs. It's often misunderstood. Secularism doesn't suppress belief. It ensures that belief remains a personal matter, not a governing authority. It creates a firewall between private faith and public law. This separation is absolutely essential for protecting minority rights, preventing coercion, and guaranteeing equal treatment for every single citizen. When we compromise on secular norms, whether it's due to religious extremism, rigid ideology, or just political opportunism, the social fabric weakens, and that erosion affects everyone, no matter their background or beliefs. This brings us to the complex topic of immigration. Immigration policy isn't just about controlling borders, it's about ensuring social sustainability. Responsible policy isn't about closing doors, but about setting clear expectations. It means being upfront that adherence to constitutional law is non-negotiable. It means providing robust civic education that centers on both the rights and the responsibilities of living in a democratic society. It means enforcing laws without exception for everyone, and it means fiercely protecting fundamental values like free expression and gender equality. Integration is a two-way street, absolutely. But it is a street that can't be navigated if the fundamental traffic rules our core democratic values are treated as optional suggestions rather than mandatory laws. So how do we move forward? How do we preserve our shared humanity? The answer isn't through cultural uniformity. Humanity doesn't advance by making everyone the same. It advances through a shared commitment to universal principles: dignity, equality, reason, and nonviolence. History has shown us time and again that societies flourish when belief systems, whether religious or secular, remain subordinate to human rights and evidence-based governance. Cultural diversity is a treasure, but it can only coexist peacefully when it's bound by a common civic framework. Without that framework, divisions deepen, trust erodes, and the very ideals that allow us to live together in peace are put at risk. The challenge we face in the 21st century isn't diversity itself. It's the erosion of the shared civic values that make diversity work. Preventing this erosion requires three things: clarity, consistency, and courage. We need clarity about the principles that define a free and open society. We need consistency in upholding the rule of law for everyone, without fear or favor. And we need the courage to defend secular governance, not as an attack on faith, but as a defense of freedom for all. We must do this without targeting or vilifying entire populations, because that only serves to create more division. Ultimately, by being clear, consistent, and courageous, we can preserve social cohesion, we can protect human rights for every individual, and we can ensure that pluralism becomes a force that strengthens rather than undermines the future of humanity. The path forward is not easy, but it is essential if we want to build a world where diversity and unity are not opposing forces, but two sides of the same coin. Thanks for watching. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world.